What's up everyone, Trent here, welcome to the Fandom Zone, and today we're doing something a little bit different with the reaction. Anyone who knows me and can see from around me, X-Men the animated series is my favorite animated program of all time. Batman the animated series comes a very close second, but X-Men is what got me into comic books and basically being a nerd in the 90s, and Disney Plus have released an unofficial official trailer hyping up the series on the streaming platform. So I thought, let's check this out. Even though I know everything that's going to happen, I want to see how they're marketing it to a new generation of fans who may not have seen it before. Everyone knows the iconic opening scene. Like, if that's not going through your head, I figured let's just check this out, see how they go with it, and yeah, let's see how they promote it in this modern landscape for something that debuted in 1992. So let's check it out. Tell us your thoughts in the comments below. Let's do it. I'm pumped.
The world tonight is in the grip of a terrible crisis.
Robert Kelly.
Those unfortunate mistakes of nature are running wild.
How could you register her with that mutant control agency as if she were some sort of criminal?
This is Professor Xavier's School for the Gifted. All of us here are mutants.
I love Storm's
like
voice.
yourself.
Remember
We
Nebo?
X-Men learned something very special here, Jubilee. How to control our mutant powers for the benefit of mankind.
But then why do people hate us?
Hitting the emotions.
Your violence will solve nothing.
Far out of love.
We must use our special gifts to bring peace to mankind.
If we fail, there will be a civil war.
Better that we die on our feet than live on our knees.
Oh, I love Magneto in this so much. Sentinel's so good. Iconic. Iconic ending. Now streaming. You have to watch it. Like, seriously, even if you're not a Marvel person or you're not a cartoon person, this was amazing. I actually just got out today and picked up the art and making of. It's actually a very, very thick book as well. Like, so that was another thing that made me want to do this. But I mean, there's so many scenes in there. You had the Morlocks, you had the Brotherhood, you had Avalanche Pyro, Senator Kelly. Like, they're really playing it to what would be a modern audience, and that's what I really like, where it's still themes that are relevant today. People fear things that are different, and you had the interaction with Storm where she's harnessing the power of the Storm, and they skip Jubilee covering her ears and like, all right already. But why do people fear us? People fear us for things that they don't understand. There were so many character voices in this that, moving forward as an X-Men fan, defined that take of the character. I loved Scott and Jean in this. Rogue's accent was just fantastic, and so was Gambit. Like, the takes on this, it took on from the X-Men Blue line designed by with the designs and team, almost identical team roster with the exception of Psylocke, of the X-Men Blue line from Jim Lee's and Chris Claremont's era. But I mean, there were so many things in this show. I've watched it over and over. It's my favorite show. Like, you've got cameos galore. You had Punisher, you have Doctor Strange, you have Spider-Man, Black Panther, so many different characters. I think even Strife had an appearance, Deadpool had an appearance. Like, you had so many things going on that were huge at that time, because the X-Men at this point in time were topping the sales. Like, even X-Force from Liefeld, that was topping the sales. Like, was X-Force 1? That was I think that was a record holder, and then X-Men 1 came out and overtook it. But I mean, X-Men was going gangbusters at that time. It was huge. Like, there was just so many things, and even though they had guest appearances from various X-Men, like you had the Nightcrawler episode, you had Colossus come in several times going against the Juggernaut, who's awesome, and Omega Red, awesome. And just everything about this capitalized on the momentum that the X-Men had. And it's just a joy to go back and watch. They adapted so many classic storylines into this series that it had its own spin, but it kept true to the classic elements. Like, you had the Phoenix Saga, the Dark Phoenix Saga, Days of Future Past, the Phalanx Covenant, Even though season 5 is one of the, less attractive seasons because they had the production changes, they still had some decent stories. And I mean, if the X-Men's villains aren't some of the best villains you've ever seen, there's something severely wrong. Like Mr. Sinister's weird kind of biological synthesized voice and Apocalypse with his booming projection. This got you learning about key characters very quickly, while also following story arcs that were almost happening concurrently in the comics. You had the Mutant Liberation Front led by Graydon Creed, and that had his dynamic with his father Sabretooth. Like, there's just so many things in here, and it as you can tell, I'm very passionate about it. I mean, I collect almost everything X-Men, but there's just something about this. As soon as the previously on X-Men title comes up, you learn about the previous episode, and then boom, straight into the no. It is just an iconic series, and I will ramble. I don't want to ramble. I want you all to go and watch it and enjoy it. And yeah, tell me your fond memories of X-Men the Animated Series. Wait, before we go, Night of the Sentinels gave me my worst nightmare as a child. I was mortified from it, and it actually stopped me from watching X-Men the Animated Series for at least a year, because the very first episode, when the Sentinel's coming down and looks into Jubilee's window and then goes in to grab her, even though it grabs the bed, that was my nightmare. I dreamed that a Sentinel was looking into my window, reached in and grabbed me. It scared me for months! And I still remember it to this day, but it has left a huge impact. It's got some of the best villains, my favorite villains, and it got me in love with X-Men and comics for the years to come. And it laid the groundwork and foundation. So yeah, I love it. I mean, you've got other shows like Wolverine and the X-Men. You have the X-Men anime, which isn't that bad, even though it's kind of, focusing on the human. It's a new X-Men Morrison thing. But all the other iterations build up from this in terms of storytelling, where Wolverine and the X-Men is extremely good and deserves a second season. But this is the penultimate animated series for me. I love it. So tell me your thoughts in the comments below. Subscribe to the channel, give the video a thumbs up, and as always, keep it nerdy.